Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, students. The topic that we are going to see today is methods and constructors in Java. In the last lecture, we have taken the classes, what are inner classes, what are outer classes, and rest of the things associated with the classes. Today, we are going to see what are methods and what are constructors in Java. The first that we are going to see is the methods in Java. You might be familiar with the functions that are available within the other languages. Like in C, we have function concept of the functions. In C++, we have again the concept of functions. In the same manner, Java does support methods. And what is method? It is a block of statements which is having a name, which is having a return type, and these block of the statement will get invoked once the method will be called. The general syntax of writing down a method is the return type. It is a return type, then uh, method name, then parameters if any, and then the body of the method. This return type means what kind of the data we are going to return from this particular method. And this might be, say, for example, a void, it might have an integer, it might have character, and so on. That means when we are going to see a method, it is simple as that of what we have seen functions in other language. The concept of functions there was to reduce the code and to make an efficient code for a particular problem. And similar is the case with the methods in Java. It is same as that of the functions that are available in C or C++. It actually gives us the flexibility to module the code into different small modules. Now, when we talk about the methods, the methods are being defined, but they can be initialized or initiated by the object. That means in which class a method is being declared, an object of that class is responsible for invoking the method. Let's take one example related to the method. Say, for example, let us create one Java class by the name of method demo. So we have created one class by the name of method demo, and let us first create public static void main. Okay. Now, in order to create a method, we are creating the methods like this. Say void display system dot out dot println. We are in method display. Similarly, we might have like this void print, and say for example system dot out dot print. We are in method print. Now, if I am going to create an object of this particular class, we have a method object, method class, method demo d equivalent to new we have on the method demo, but if we will run this particular program, it will not show me anything. As you can see from this, okay, build successfully, but it's not showing me anything because we have not initiated or we have not called these particular methods. In order to call these methods, what we need to call them like this. We need to initiate them like d dot display, and after that d dot print. Now if I am going to run this particular file, it will show me these two methods. We are in method display and we are in method. Similarly, if a particular method will have an integer a, and we are going to have print we are in method a and plus a. In order to do the same, what we need to pass, say for example 5, and if we are going to run this, this is how our methods with parameters takes the parameter from the point of instantiating, and then in order to invoke the same we are getting it. That means a method has a particular has a particular definition, as we have seen in the C, and it is having a particular mechanism for calling, and this calling can be taken place with the help of the object or reference of that particular object, which is here D, or instantaneous object, that is D. And with the help of this D, we are all able to invoke different functions available within the method demo. So this is about a simple introduction about method. But today's main topic is exactly the constructors. What constructors are? As we are now familiar with what methods are, now the constructors are special special type of methods. What special type of method is this? It is having same name as that of class. And second one is it doesn't have it doesn't have a return type. However, internal return type is class type itself. That means when we talk about the constructors, we say the constructors are special methods. That means no doubt constructors are again methods. That means it is having the name, it's having the parameter list, if any, it's having the body. But these are the special methods. There must be same within the methods. We can take any name for the method like sum, division, print, display. But when we talk about the constructors, it must have the same name as that of the class. For example, if my class name is demo, then my constructor name should also be as demo. It's a mandatory to follow these particular rules in order to get the constructors to be done. And second thing is it doesn't have any return type. As we have seen within the method, there's a return type, there is a method name, and within the constructors there doesn't exist this return type. However, the automatic return type for constructor is the class name itself or class type itself. That means to which class it belongs. It is of that type. It's the constructors can be categorized into default, default. Second one is parameterized. There, some books say there exists third constructor, but we are not going to take that particular constructor as a type because that's a copy constructor copying one constructor into the another constructor. But majorly, maximum books say that there are two categories. One is the default constructor, second one is the parameter. Let's take, with the help of a clear demonstration, let us take one by one example regarding these constructors. Let us say, let's take one more example. Let's create one more class by the name of constructor. Is it okay? So we have created a particular class by the name of constructor. Is it? Now, what we are going to do? We are going to use public static void main in order to make an entry point of our program. So let's make a constructor. When we talk about the default constructor, if we don't have any particular constructor, still a particular constructor which is available with the JVM are being called that we call the default constructor. Here, when we are assigning a definition to our default constructor, we say that we are overriding our default constructor. Say for example, we are using like this constructor. Okay, so so constructor, and we are using like this system.out.println. We are in default constructor. Is it? Now we have defined a constructor. How to call this? The Java provides us a mechanism that whenever we are generating or whenever we are creating a constructor of type default, then upon creation of an object, the constructor will get called itself. What does that mean? That means if we are going to create an object of constructor here, C equivalent to new constructor, C equivalent to new constructor, then if we are going to run it, it will be called. Say we are in default. Still, we doesn't do like this C dot constructor. We doesn't do like this. Like we doesn't do like this. However, this can be the idea behind this is that whenever an object is being created, the default constructor associated with this particular class will get called itself. The main purpose of these default constructors were for the initialization purpose. Say for example, now we are taking an example like this. We have say int num1 comma num2, where is it, and upon num1 equivalent to 90 and num2 equivalent to 80, is it? And after that we are having like this void display and we are having system.out.println sum is equivalent to num1 plus num2. And what we are going to do, we are just going to use c dot display. What it will do, it will, when a constructor is being, an object of this class is being created, see, this particular constructor will get automatically called, and it will initialize two variables, that means num1 equivalent to 90 and num2 equivalent to 80. And after this we are going to take the summation of two numbers. This is how we are able to create the constructor of the type of default. Now, this was about the default constructor. Let us now come to the part of parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructors are those constructors which takes parameters. Here, what we say that upon creating an object, the constructor get called itself. Now, if say for example, if constructor takes two parameters now, that's what we call as a parameterized constructor. The constructor with the parameters that we call as a parameterized constructors. Let's say for example n comma int m, and say for example num1 is equivalent to n and num2 is equivalent to m. And within this particular, how to call this particular parameterized constructor. If we are forwarding these like 10 comma 20, is it 10 comma 20, then what it says, it takes these parameters and copies this particular into this constructor, and 10 will be copied to n and 20 will be copied to m, and this is what how we are going to invoke the parameterized constructor. That means sum is equivalent to 30, because parameterized constructor upon creating an object need to forward the parameters associated with that particular constructor. Say for example, if we have one more constructor like this, constructor truct constructor, say int k. Now it is having only one parameters. Is it? We say simply system.out.println how k. But we have not called any kind of the parameter. It differs in parameters. This is how we can have different kind of the parameterized constructor in a single class. That means it has two parameters, it has single parameters, even if we have default constructor as well. We can have default constructor as well. System.out default. Is it default with two parameters, with one parameter, and default will get called if we are going to run this like this. First we have created one constructor, three constructor, but there is only one invocation. So let's call this. What it will see me, it will see me only sum equivalent to 30. That means this particular constructor will get called. These constructors will not get called. In order to get called these particular constructors, what we need to do like this. Constructor say k equivalent to new constructor. Is it? Now if we are going to run this, a default constructor plus this particular constructor will get called. Now if we need to call the one parameter constructor M will be equivalent to new constructor, and it will have say 33 as a parameter. If we are going to run this, what it will show me? It will show me the default, the first constructor, after that sum equivalent to, because we have taken this particular, and after 33 because we are printing k. This is how parameterized constructors get called, and this is how a default constructor gets called. In next lecture, we are going to see the concept of these constructors in different concepts of available within the Java. Like inheritance, we have a concept of inheriting the constructors of the base class to the derived class, and similarly in other parts of the Java. So this was about the methods and constructors available within Java. Hope you have understood the concept of constructors, and these constructors are very useful while maintaining the code or initializing the concept or resources available within the Java. Now there exists a particular what we can say heading within your syllabi. We are going to touch that particular heading here. We call that as a garbage collection. Garbage collection. Within your garbage collection. Within your C++, you might have used the keyword called new and delete, where new was used to allocate memory and delete was used to deallocate memory upon if we are going to free some portion of the memory or some objects which are not used from from many or which have not been used by any kind of the programs, but that was manual done. We are doing it manually in C++ with the help of the delete keyword. But when we come to the Java doesn't provide this particular support. However, Java makes it convenient for we people. Java do it automatically. That invokes garbage collector is being invoked whenever we the Java feels that the object uh, has not been used for a long time, or the resources associated with the Java has not been used by this object for a long time, and it automatically delinks or deallocates the memory associated with that particular. It's not. Uh, it's a concept of Java that it automatically removes all those particular links which are obsolete or which are not being used by by these kind of the objects. So we don't need to bother about the garbage collection or deallocation of the objects that we are going to have. But within the C++, it's the programmer's duty to deallocate the memory, while within the Java, this assignment has been taken off from the programmer, and these have been put on the shoulders of the JVM to collect all those particular uh, objects or allocated memories so that it will be allocated to other particular object. Hope that you have gone through or you have understand the concept of methods, the constructors, how to invoke the constructor, how to invoke the default constructor, how to invoke the parameterized constructor, and how to pass the parameters to the parameterized constructors. And this topic will be very useful in the coming topics like inheritance. We are going to use the constructor again, and rest of the code which are we are going to see within the Java. Hope you have understood this concept. Inshallah, tomorrow we are going to take a new topic. Thank you very much.